only 98 days away as we welcome you into NFL Live. Hannah Storm, Mike Tannenbaum, Kevin Clark, Sam Acho. Voluntary OTAs underway. We're going to start with Kansas City. Of course, the Chiefs looking to rebound after that Super Bowl loss. Here is Patrick Mahomes on the return of Rashee Rice.
I mean, he looks like Rashee. I mean, I think having the injury was it sucked, but happening so early in the season, he was back like right when the offseason started, and so he was up here working hard, extremely hard, and he was back home working extremely hard, and so I was throwing with him in Dallas a little bit, and then getting him back out here, and there's no limitations. He's out there playing, he's making plays on the football field, he's explosive, he looks fast, and you saw the start of last season. I think he can be one of the best receivers in the league, and so just to have him, to add with Xavier and Hollywood and all these other guys that we have, it's another position I think Veach has done a great job of bringing in competition so that we can go out there and make a lot of plays happen.
Yeah, and listen, he's going to be looking to get that deep ball going again this season. In Mahomes' first 6 seasons, he actually ranked top 3 in QBR and touchdown to interception ratio when throwing at least 20 yards downfield. But the last 2 seasons, that's a different story. Mahomes ranks in the bottom 3 in completion percentage over expectation and touchdown to interception ratio. And obviously, that's not all on him. The Chiefs receivers dropping nearly 7% of his passes during that time. But he mentioned the receivers, Mikey T. Also, as we know, Kelsey decided to come back. How do you like this offense going into next season?
I like all those things. Everything that you listed, everything that Patrick Mahomes talked about, if he's protected well. Guys, he was pressured at the 6th highest rate. Now, give them credit. They threw a lot of resources. They signed Jaylen Brown, someone who's a little bit under the radar, hasn't started a lot. They drafted Josh Simmons, who's very talented, coming off a big injury. If that solidifies protection, which it didn't in the Super Bowl, this offense evolves because, as you mentioned, Hannah, when you think about Xavier Worthy and a healthy Rashee Rice, obviously dealing with the suspension, this is a different offense than Travis Kelce. Plus, they have 2 really good runners in Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. So, assuming that they can protect Patrick Mahomes, I think this is a different offense, a more explosive one.
The fact that the Kansas City Chiefs were the only team in the NFL last year who averaged less than 3 air yards per completion is a football tragedy. We remember what it looked like when he was able to go deep on seemingly every pass. And when I look at the tape now, he just seems uncomfortable, Mahomes, when he's going deep. And you can talk about the offensive line. You can talk about the fact that he doesn't have chemistry with his new kind of deep threats. Xavier Worthy was a rookie, obviously, last year. Rashee Rice was hurt. Hollywood Brown was hurt. But there's no excuse for being worse in adjusted completion percentage on deep passes than Daniel Jones and Cooper Rush last year, okay? Mahomes talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He said this is him either missing throws or not taking them, not pulling the trigger on those throws. I want to see more comfort out of him. I understand defenses play him differently with the too high looks, but there's still opportunities around the sideline area. I want to see better chemistry with Xavier Worthy.
Well, the best way to be more comfortable in the pocket as a quarterback is to have better protection. Mike T, you alluded to it earlier. I want to make point to one name, Kingsley Suamataia. He was drafted to be a tackle last year, likely going to move into left guard to replace Joe Thuney, and then the draft of Josh Simmons. I think that these 2 young players, Simmons being a first-round pick, Suamataia being a second-round pick out of BYU, are going to be huge, not just early in the season, but late in the season. These 2 young players are going to have to go against Khalil Mack early, talking about Josh Simmons playing Khalil Mack, and then week 2 they play the Philadelphia Eagles. And so I think it might be a struggle early for the offensive line, but that early exposure to some dominant defensive players will prepare the young players for the future, i.e. playoffs and potentially another Super Bowl run.
Sam, just to follow up on something Kevin said, I got to work with the great Rex Ryan. Just ask Rex if he's great. He'll be But he always talked about how pressure impacted the eye level of the quarterback. And going back to what Kevin was saying about those statistics, guys, that is certainly what has happened. The pressure has impacted even someone as great as Patrick Mahomes, his eye level. With better protection, he'll have confidence to step up in the pocket, and hopefully they'll get that explosiveness back.
And that's one thing people forget about. When I think about football, we all talk about the quarterback and the quarterback play. But as a guy who was a pass rusher, as an edge rusher, if I can beat my guy one-on-one, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If I get there before the quarterback has a chance to get the ball out, all of a sudden I win. And so, yes, you could talk about getting sacked, all those things. He needs protection. And I think that's exactly why you saw Andy Reid so excited about Josh Simmons. That's why they're making the move. They kept Trey Smith. They didn't let him go in free agency because they understand the importance of protection for Patrick Patrick Mahomes.
Biggest news of today, perhaps in the NFL, is that Reed said that Josh Simmons, the first-round pick, is ahead of schedule with his injury. If he's healthy, if he can get a starting spot, that changes everything and just solves pretty much everything we're talking about right now.
Yeah, we'll see how quickly all of those new faces, new positions on the offensive line, we'll see how quickly all of that is able to gel, because they have some people coming for them. Like, what about the Denver Broncos? They were a surprise playoff team last season, finishing with a 10-7 record. They went a perfect 8-0, though, against teams that had a 500 record or worse. So they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. And except for that Week 18, when the Chiefs rested most of their starters, they were 1-7 against teams with winning records. And Bo Nix excelled in those games against lesser competition. Here he is speaking today on his progression in year 2.
Just spitting out play calls a lot easier, just processing, being around VJ for a year, understanding the defense that I'm going to get. So it's a lot better. It's a lot more enjoyable not thinking, right now as opposed to what I was doing last year. Haven't done anything up until this point, and I got a lot to prove, a lot to show. So, every day it's working. Every day it's finding a way to get better because you don't want to get to, year 2 or go down the road and, all of a sudden you got stuck and didn't get any better. So that's my focus right now, is just not even worried about what people are saying. Just internally, I know I got a long way to go.
And Sam, they finished 5 games back at the Chiefs, but it was a great pick for them. Let's face it, handpicked by Sean Payton. What are your expectations for the two of them together in year 2?
I expect a lot more success for Bo Nix and for this Denver Broncos offense. The reason why isn't just because he's more experienced, because they've added pieces, specifically Evan Ingram at tight end. Why does that piece matter? The reason it matters is that Sean Payton talks a lot about the middle triangle, quarterback, running back, and tight ends. I know it because I played against him time and time again. You see him attack the middle of the field, whether it's through running back, screen game, whether it's through tight end mismatches. That's an area of improvement that I think the Denver Broncos are going to have. Yes, Cortland Sutton on the outside. Marvin Mims is dynamic, but Evan Ingram is going to be a big-time playmaker in this offense because of the way that Sean Payton loves to attack the middle of defenses.
I knew the floor was going to be really high for Bo Nix because he played so much college football. He's one of these guys like Michael Penix, like Jaden Daniels, who they threw the ball like 2,000 times in college. It's a different era with the transfer portal, with COVID, that extra year that those guys got. So I knew he was going to have instant success. I didn't know it would be like this. The difference maker this year with Bo Nix is going to be R.J. Harvey. Because nobody get mad at what I'm about to say. Bo Nix was the best check down quarterback in football last year. That can be a good thing. You add in R.J. Harvey, you see it right there, that reception there. He had a 21% explosive run rate. That was one of the best in college last year, but he can also catch the passes. Alvin Kamara had similar success under Sean Payton very early. He had 44% of the snaps his rookie year, but still had some of the best numbers in all of football his rookie year. I'm expecting R.J. Harvey to be perhaps a dark horse Rookie of the Year candidate.
Yeah, and the other thing that we have to focus on is the amount of turnovers that Bo Nix had. Sean Payton, as a Bill Parcells disciple, always talked about how teams can lose games before you ever win them. And last year, Bo Nix was 17th in turnovers. So the turnovers have to improve. And then you look at someone like Joe Burrow, guys, massive drop. He had 13 touchdown passes his rookie year, 34 second year. And I think, as both Sam and Kevin have mentioned, be it Evan Ingram, R.J. Harvey, Bo Nix is going to be a lot better. I'm not saying he's going to have the Joe Burrow jump, but if he could just cut down on the turnovers, be a little bit more efficient with an underrated defense, Hannah, this team, I'm not saying they're going to beat Kansas City, but they'll make it very competitive.
Yeah, maybe underrated defense, but really, really solid defense. And one of the things I'm sure you appreciated as a GM is they re-signed more of their own players than any other team in the NFL this season. You do like that, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
All right, just checking. Well, the Raiders with several key new faces this season. Chip Kelly talking about working with his new quarterback.
Geno's literally like a second coach. When you're in that room with him and Greg Olsen, it's there's a lot of ideas going around, and then it's just a matter of corralling it. Because sometimes you can have too many ideas. Like, let's try to do a million things, and then you don't get good at one thing. But his football acumen is really off the charts. It's impressive to be around him.
In many ways, it's a dream come true because I've always revered, Coach Kelly, and I've always thought he's been an excellent coach throughout his career and a guy who I've, really, wanted to play for, even back then when I was in high school. It didn't work out that way, but, God works in mysterious ways, and here we are today in Las Vegas.
Your expectations. We got Carolyn Smith 2.0, right? Then we got a little Chip Kelly thrown in there. How do you see this working?
Credibility. Okay, that's the one word. There's an old Jimmy Johnson line. He told Bill Belichick one time that in the NFL, 24 of the 32 teams just get out of your way. And more often than not, over the past, let's say, 23 years, the Raiders have been one of those teams that just gets out of your way. Let the good teams handle the playoffs, winning playoff games, that sort of thing. The Raiders are never in that hunt. I think what Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are going to build, and along with Geno Smith, instant credibility, 8-9 win seasons. You'll never get 15 wins out of this crew, but you're going to get constant competition. I think the AFC West is going to be probably the hardest division in football because there's no easy outs because of teams like the Raiders improving. Geno Smith had 40 touchdowns of over 10 air yards in his 2 seasons under Pete Carroll. The Raiders last year had 9 total of those, okay? That's the floor being raised. Chip Kelly reinvented himself in the last few years of the college game. He is not the up-tempo guy anymore. He huddles. He has a run game situation that is a lot better than he did a decade ago. It is a different Chip Kelly.
Yeah, you know who reinvented himself? Kevin Clark. I knew him as a young, enterprising reporter. Now every other word is wingfoot this.
And by the way, when you were the Jets GM, he gave you a hard time.
Yes,
right?
he did. And now he's a scratch golfer. And so talk about reinventing themselves. We got one right here. Anyway, I digress. There is a nuance going on here, which is if we're the Raiders guys and we're driving to the stadium, we have a chance to go win the game. Similar to what Kevin said, Pete Carroll's going to play good defense, and it's Ashton Jeanty. And one of the things, Hannah, that I really liked about him was how productive he was out of the backfield at Boise State. 80 catches. You're going to see a lot of long handoffs to Ashton Jeanty, and you're going to play keep away from the likes of what we talked about in the A block. Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert. You want to go win the game, shorten it. Keep those great offenses off the field, and the best way to do that is take the Marshawn Lynch out of Seattle, make him Ashton Jeanty in Vegas.
Such a great pick. Absolutely loved it. And listen, you want to be entertaining in Vegas, right?
Yep.
So here we go.